what we have seen from Jared Cannonier is really good like defense, like close range defense. Like against Anderson Silva, he was pretty much walking down into range because he knew he had to get close to Anderson Silva, just like he has to get close to Adesanya. So him walking into range and him, using that tight defense, like building that shell around him, yeah, I mean, he's going to take some shots. But Adesanya, aside from a couple of particular targets, which of course we'll mention in a moment, Adesanya is not going to knock him dead with one shot. Adesanya is going to need a few shots to catch you. He's going to need to wear you down a little bit. Jared Cannonier can hit you with one shot and put you on the floor. And I'm not saying that Adesanya doesn't have power, but it's an accumulation of shots. It's not one single bang. And like when Cannonier dropped Gastelum, it was just a perfect clean shot, lead hook, not really any wind up, just a nice step in. Sorry, a lead right hook, cracked him on the chin and dropped him on the spot. And Gastelum's got a wicked chin. I mean, he was able to recover and continue fighting, but that instantaneous power is not something that we see necessarily from Adesanya, which for me would give Jared Cannonier the confidence to move a bit closer into range, to close him down and try and get his hands on him or start clinching and hitting him with shorter shots. I mean, the elbows that he caught Derek Brunson with were brilliant. But on the outside, he's gonna look like he's leagues behind because he doesn't have the tools or the range to get in close to Adesanya to play those games. Adesanya on the outside is going to be poking and teasing him and finding opportunities to land his better shots. The other thing is they're both going to be attacking each other's lead leg. Adesanya's got very good targeting. Cannonier's got very good power. So they're both. It's a bit of a trade-off. Now, if we look at Cannonier against Anderson Silva, and it's worth noting that obviously Adesanya will switch stance. Cannonier will also switch stance. So the inside and outside attacks will be on constantly, and it doesn't really matter to Cannonier. He's got good leg kicks from both sides, and even if you stay in range, because he has such power to the kick, he moves you so much that any shots that you're throwing as a counter are not necessarily going to be very valuable, which to an extent nullifies Adesanya's reach advantage, because to counter low kicks, you really want, long arms for punches, which Adesanya's got, but he also doesn't want his legs getting kicked to pieces like Anderson Silva got. And the targeting of this is very specific every time. Inside leg, right above the knee. Really not a pleasant place to get kicked. Here's another clean example of one. But goes to the body punch, moves himself just into range, and then smashes that kick. And you can see Anderson Silva reaching for it, because you can watch this fight through yourself. Cannonier lands a good low kick about every 30 seconds in this fight. And they're almost always to the same leg, because Anderson Silva is predominantly southpaw. So he's smashing that lead leg over and over again. And Anderson starts to do things to react, like he switches to a more Thai stance where he rocks his weight onto his back foot and kind of taps his lead foot like a traditional kind of Thai boxing impression you would do. Like that shows you that Anderson Silva is feeling that inside leg straight away. And you can see that the way that Jared Cannonier is throwing all of his weight into that. I mean, he is literally throwing everything into that kick. Stepping with that lead foot and smashing into the lead leg. Really, really incredibly painful, especially, like every 30 seconds. And this was the one that finished him. And again, same target. Like he's going to the inside of the knee. So he's flaring the knee. And then as Anderson Silva steps on it, that's when he feels the pain. Like you can't take very many of those. This is a 25-minute fight. So you've got to think, if Jared Cannonier can have the confidence to move himself into Adesanya's range with a tight, confident guard and not bite too much on the feints that we get from Adesanya all the time, just stay tight and stay close and keep smashing those low kicks, that will immediately start taking some of the movement away from Adesanya, which will straight away take some of the sting away from his punches and some of his reaction time as well. So Cannonier will then be able to step in quickly with that lead right hook and catch him, or lead left hook, or whatever shot he wants to use. And Adesanya won't be quite as quick to return. The low kicks are going to be a big key in this fight as soon as it starts. It's a risky strategy, of course, but then fighting Adesanya is a risky strategy for anything. I mean, he could do something else as a job. The nature of this is that it's dangerous, and, you've got to kind of weigh up those risks. And I think if I was Cannonier, I would take the risk of taking punches from Adesanya to land heavy low kicks. Because once I've destabilised the base of Adesanya, it takes away a lot of the finesse of his game. He starts to become quite flat-footed, and then he starts to lean away with his head, and that's where Cannonier's speed comes into play. the reason why it's valuable for Jared Cannonier to close distance, and again, you know, he's up against a good wrestler here in Brunson. If he gets his hands on Adesanya, it's going to feel a lot like it did with Jan Blachowicz. I mean, you know, Jan's a big, strong, powerful individual, but Jared Cannonier is, I mean, shake hands with the guy. He is just rocks. He's just power. Like, if he's able to get his hands on Adesanya, I think he's going to be able to maintain that strength and that muscling in the clinch a lot longer as well. And I also think at close range, he's going to be far more devastating. Like, this elbow that he lands here against Derek Brunson was the beginning of the end. And intelligently closing distance, not recklessly like chasing and being excited, but cautiously closing distance to try and maintain that pressure is a real value to him. Especially if he's already got Adesanya rocked at some point. Catches him with a smash elbow here, and then he hits him with this lovely back fist. It's a very Andrei Arlovski. Goes for the right hand, misses, and comes back with a smash back fist. Beautiful. Fills the space very well, closes distance, but he's not over-eager. Varies his targets, attacks the body, because of course his opponent's expecting a headshot. He still feels like he's got a head full of water. He's been caught with that clean elbow. Another left hand there. Chases him down, throws a kick, but he's staying close to him, but he's still not being reckless. Like, he's not winging wild shots and stuff. He's still taking his time, still working behind his jab. Finds himself in closer range here. This is where he gets really dangerous, in my opinion. And just look, I mean, look at how he just twists Brunson to the floor here. And it's this finish, like the way you watch this finish, the power in these shots. Let's just watch it through slow. Like, the way he's able to twist and smash Brunson like that in such a close range. Like, that's scary raw power. Scary, scary raw power. Like, this is the asset that he brings to the octagon. It's that ability to be blunt force trauma at very, very close range. And because he's the one that's 5'11" and has a 77-inch reach compared to Adesanya, who's 6'4", with these long 80-inch arms, like, this is the range he needs to be. Look at that beautiful back fist. I mean, that is Andrei Arlovski would be proud of that. It doesn't even have to be orthodox. I mean, that was probably one of the most powerful shots that he landed in this finishing sequence. Fill the space. You know, once the flurry started, and if it gets here, I mean, this is really where Jared Cannonier can do the damage. You can even see the talcum flying in the corner. This whole thing might feel a little bit kind of weighted towards Jared Cannonier, but that's because I want to put him on the table as a contender, because a lot of people are going, yeah, but Adesanya, you know, Whittaker beat Cannonier and Adesanya beat Whittaker twice, so it's not quite as simple as that. You know, sometimes a 3-round fight against a particular type of opponent can be very, very different to a 5-round fight against somebody else. This is a title fight. He's got the world champion in front of him. It's the main event. His face is on the poster. The lights are on him. You know, there's a lot of things changing for him about this fight.